We look like we got 100% attendance. Let me have your attention, tell you the conditions of the meeting. If you're not satisfied with the decisions made by Traffic and Parking Commission, you may appeal the decision by filing a writ of cert with the Davidson County Chancery or Circuit Court. Your appeal must be filed within 60 days of the date of entry of the Commission's decision. We advise that you seek your own independent legal advice to ensure that your appeal is filled in a timely manner and that all procedural requirements have been met. Approval of today's agenda.
I so move.
Have a first.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Approval of the minutes from the meeting of April the 13th, 2015. Do I have a motion, please?
So move.
Have a first.
I second.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Approval of the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda will be voted on at a single time. No individual public hearing will be held, nor will the Commission debate these items unless a member of the audience or the Commission requests that the items be removed from the consent agenda. Rules of the public hearing. Keep comments to 3 minutes or less. Each person representing will be expected to offer new information that has not been made previously. Once the public hearing has been closed, no additional comments will be heard unless public hearing is officially reopened. We have Councilman Claiborne here today. I think he has requested to speak on one of the items. You want to do that now, Councilman? Come forward, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and members of the Commission for the opportunity to come. And the item that is on your consent agenda is the traffic restriction on Ermac Drive, and I just wanted to give you a little background. That's a request that I made at the request of some of the residents who live on Ermac. Ermac is a little short street, runs between Elm Hill Pike and Marriott Drive, which parallels I-40. And within the last months, maybe going back toward last fall, I guess, more and more commercial buses and also delivery trucks, tractor trailers and so on, have opted to use Ermac as a straight shot from Elm Hill to Marriott rather than dealing with the curves on Marriott Drive. And there are no businesses on Ermac. It's all residential, what remains. A lot of those houses are gone, but there's about 6 or 8 homes up through there. And so some of those residents came to me and said, is there any way that we can prohibit tractor trailers and buses from coming through our neighborhood at not only all hours of the day, but sometimes all hours of the night? And so I made the request through Chip, and appreciate you putting this on the your agenda, and so recommend that you approve that. And I also wanted to take, since I'm here and since all of you are here, I wanted to take the opportunity to thank you. This is more than likely the last time that I will sit here in this chair as the councilman for District 15, since my term ends at the end of August. And I wanted to thank all of you for the time that you put in. Having served on the Planning Commission for a couple of years, I know that two meetings a week in the preparation month, and the preparation that you put in for this is something that you do because you're willing to do it. So I thank you personally. I thank you on behalf of the council, and thank you on behalf of the residents of the city of Nashville for the work that you do in representing them as far as our streets and traffic safety is concerned. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman. Items on the consent agenda, Resolution 05-2015. What we'll do, we've had a request to discuss 4 of these, bullet 2, 3, 4, and 8. What we'll do, if it's all right with Chip and the commissioners, is go through all of them. Then before we vote on any of them, we'll go back and discuss these four items. Authorize no U-turn on Melinda Drive from 7:30 through 8:30 a.m. and from 2:30 through 3:30 p.m. on Monday. Friday, Westmead Elementary School prohibit cars from holding up the arrival and dismissal line requested by, is that the Metropolitan Police Department, Chip?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Bullet number 2, authorize no right turn on red on Broadway at 1st Avenue North, eastbound to southbound. Modify no left turn on 4th Avenue North, northbound at Broadway from 4 through 6 p.m. 24/7. Authorize no parking anytime on both sides of Estes Road from Woodmont Boulevard to Crescent Road. Authorize a truck restriction on Ermac Drive from Elm Hill Pike to Marriott Drive requested by Councilman Claiborne. Authorize traffic signal at North and South 10th Street at Main Street. Authorize a 50-foot loading zone in front of 1706 Hayes Street Monday through Friday, 8 through 6:30 p.m. Authorize a 100-foot loading zone on the west side of 2nd Avenue North in front of 1205 2nd Avenue North from 6 a.m. through 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Authorize valet parking on the east side of 25th Avenue North, 210 25th Avenue North from 5 till 11 p.m. 7 days a week. Authorize valet parking on the west side of 5th Avenue North, 1411 5th Avenue North from 11 a.m. through 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. through 12 a.m. 7 days a week. Authorize valet parking on the north side of Malloy Street between 1st Avenue South and 2nd Avenue South for the 222 Tower from 11 a.m. through 2 p.m., 6 p.m. through 12 a.m., 7 days a week. All right, that's all the items on the consent agenda, and we'll go back and discuss some of the commissioners on bullet number 2. Was that you, Brenda?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Just for clarification, I've had some folks complain to me a little bit about taking away the right turn on red. I'm under the assumption that is because a lot of the lights have been changed. A lot of the lights have been changed to be all red and then allow pedestrian parking all up and down Broadway from the river to what, 6th or 7th?
To 5th. First through 5th right now.
First through 5th. Is this kind of a continuation of that, or what's the theory behind this? Because this is not a really big, I mean, traffic backs up there a little bit, so I'm kind of concerned about not letting them turn right on red.
Well, to answer the first part, this is one of a few things that we're going to do there.
Wait a minute.
Do we want to just first move the items from the consent agenda that are going to be the subject of more extensive discussion?
Yeah. We need to move those items for discussion.
I make a motion that we move items 2, 3, 4, and 8 from the consent agenda.
I second.
Wait a minute, I don't think it's 4. It's not number 4, is it?
It is 4.
It is 4.
Oh, okay.
2, 3, 4, and 8.
I'm sorry.
I need to remove one myself, so
Okay.
add number 11 to your...
I'll amend my motion.
Well, just add number 11 to it, please.
And I'll add number 11 too.
Okay.
Add that to the second too.
Yeah. Can somebody second that new?
I second.
Okay, so we're going to pull bullet 2, 3, 4,
To vote on it.
8,
And 11.
and 11. And we're going to vote on the others. Is that correct?
But first, we need on the motion to remove those.
Okay. Do I have a motion to remove those?
We already have a motion.
Okay, got a second? All in favor say aye. Aye. All right, we're voting on all of the others except those 5 items. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I second.
Have a first, second. We need a hand vote on these.
All in favor?
Yeah. All in favor, raise your right hand. 100%. Thank you. All right, let's go back to bullet number 2. Brenda.
Okay, the no right turn on red, and I'm just looking a little bit of the philosophy behind changing that.
Well, like I was going to say, a lot of things are going to be happening downtown. I've talked to you about some of the proposed ideas we have, and this is one of many that are coming up in addition to the exclusive PED we have going on. Corby, zoom down and I'll show you what the concern is. The crosswalk is around the building corner is what it amounts to. Turn around, it's on the south side. It's this right turn where that bench is, and the crosswalk is down by where that red truck is.
Yes.
And so when you're turning right on red, you might not see the pedestrian crossing there. And like even during the exclusive PED phase, a right on red would be in conflict with that. Does that make sense?
Is there a reason it can't be moved to the corner?
Well, the other corner's on the other side.
Doesn't match the other side.
Yeah. If you go closer, Corby, you can see that the alignment's just not there.
Okay, so you're saying the crosswalk.
It's kind of a hidden crosswalk, for better terms.
Have you improved the striping down through there? Because based on this picture, the striping, the crosswalk striping looks faded.
Yeah, we've
looks not
redone
very
it since
clear.
Google's been through, yes.
Okay.
Well, I literally 15 minutes ago came through that same intersection, and it looked fine to me, but you're the engineer. I'm just concerned about there's not a lot of traffic right there and not a ton of pedestrians right there.
Take into consideration they're going to have that amphitheaters coming, so your pedestrian traffic's going to just skyrocket.
They'll cross illegally anyways.
Well, they do, yeah. Unfortunately, they don't always. Okay.
If it turns out to be a traffic issue, we'll come up with something else. But
okay.
We are concerned about the hidden crosswalk.
Well, and part of that, I think, one of the issues across the street there on the side of the train station, you have that large, no, stay where you are. I'm sorry, stay where you are. That large area there that is loading zone part of the time, pedestrian loading zone. Basically, that's just parking spaces, free parking spaces for folks. It's not, I mean, those people are, the people who run the businesses like Acme and some of those others have a hard time with loading and unloading merchandise and product and that sort of thing. And it would be something to look into is if that, I think that's about 100 feet there or something, if that could be turned into a loading zone. It says carriages, but I don't think the carriages are ever there.
We have implemented the change to where the carriages will be stationed there on First Avenue outside the train station. It's a passenger loading zone during certain hours and carriage stands the rest of the time.
Okay. Passenger loading zone. Okay. But it's not supposed to be parking. It's not supposed to have any parking at any time, correct?
Vehicles should not be parked there unless they're actively engaged in loading, unloading passengers at that location.
Okay. Passengers. How about beer trucks, Cisco trucks, etc.? Are they allowed to park in there and unload?
Acme, if you're talking about Acme specifically, they've contacted me about getting a loading zone on Broadway. So.
Well, didn't we just give them one out in front?
The commission just approved the loading zone in front of Acme.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can look at converting those to loading zones also if you need to. If it's just passenger car parking, we can look at it, or at least.
Well, that's a conversation for another day, I guess, and to look at. So well, I'm fine with that. If I just wanted some explanation of why you were taking away the no red. And as it is now, pedestrians cannot walk, are not supposed to walk, except when the light says they can walk.
That's true everywhere. Yeah, when they have the walk and the flashing don't walk.
So that's the part that's going to be the challenge to enforce. Okay.
Chip, is 2nd Avenue two-way?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I would be concerned that people would be driving down.
No, 2nd Avenue.
No, 2nd Avenue is one way.
I know that. I know that.
2nd Avenue is one way. I'm sorry.
One way.
Northbound.
My concern is that people will get down there and, whoa, I can't make a turn. I'm in the wrong lane on 1st or 2nd. They can't go 2nd to go around, and they'll get down to 1st and they can't make a right turn.
They can, just on red.
Yeah, they can make a right turn. What he's saying is they have to stop first. And the reason you're having
Am I reading this wrong?
The reason you're going to have them stop is because...
Oh, my error. Okay, I'm sorry.
If you pull right up to that intersection,
I got it.
I
got it. Okay.
The building blocks that crosswalk.
I forgot about right on red.
But the next approved item, do we have to vote on that one?
I guess it's we move them all.
Yeah, we move them all off.
Yeah, so we'll vote on.
Okay.
Yeah, but do we vote on these individually as we go through them?
We already voted on the rest of them, didn't we?
Yeah, we voted on the rest of them, but I'm talking about
What do
these.
we mean individual?
Oh.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to authorize no right on red on Broadway at First Avenue.
I second.
Have a first and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. All right. Bullet number 3, modify no left turn on 4th Avenue North, northbound at Broadway from 4 through 6 p.m. 24/7. Brenda?
Okay, so this will, basically then anyone northbound on 4th Avenue coming up from the south, going north, will only be able to turn right. Is that correct?
That is
because you're
correct.
heading into a dead-end street.
That's correct. And right now it's from 4 to 6, like it says. And it used to be 24 hours. And then we changed it. This commission changed it probably 5 or 6 years ago, maybe longer than that, to a 4 to 6 p.m. restriction. And now, at the request of the police department, Commander Reinbold suggested make it 24/7. Just, you sit there with your left turn blinker on and you don't get to turn and the traffic stacks up behind you. Because the oncoming cars from 4th Avenue South, coming down 4th Avenue, they're just so heavy, you rarely get to turn left.
You know, we have the same problem at 5th Avenue, trying to turn left when you are southbound on 5th, trying to turn left. Well, there is no left turn there now, and we're getting the same backups there. You know, we've just got some really big issues with some of these streets, and we need to really look at not turning left. Can you turn left? Can you turn right? Can you not turn right? Because there's some, if you find out you can't turn and you think you're going to be able to go left on Broadway there and you find you can't, you've got to go all the way to the river, go all the way around a number of streets. So I'm just saying it's very confusing and very aggravating.
Back up just a little bit, Corby. I want to show you. We thought about putting in a left turn, a little bitty left turn lane and a right turn lane, but that parking right there on that corner is so valuable because we might take that into, we might turn that into taxis parking or loading zone. And so if we took that parking, we'd have to move it somewhere.
It's kind of funny because this stretch of 4th Avenue is kind of a no man's zone there. You've got that one little stretch northbound. And, you know, you run into a one-way street there. So, all right, well, I wanted some explanation of that and just let it be known that
Well, you might see
I like to second Commissioner Sanderson on everything that she's saying about that as well. I live pretty much close to downtown and drive through there often, and she brings up a really good point even about 5th Avenue. I've been actually meaning to mention that myself, that no left turn really creates a traffic issue because you can't turn, was it left on the church on 5th Avenue, right once you pass the, right when you're at the Fifth Third building and Puckett's. Right now they took that down because of the construction, but before the construction started on that parking deck, you couldn't turn left there after we turned it into a two-way. And it really creates a backup because it makes, I'm wondering if it's causing some other traffic issues somewhere else because people can't make turns in certain directions, and then you have to kind of rework yourself all the way around to get to where you're trying to go. So especially on Saturday nights or the weekends and then during rush hour, traffic is just getting ridiculous downtown around church.
We shouldn't have significant deliberation on a matter that's not on the agenda before us today. I mean, I think that could be brought up for like new business.
Well, I'm more or less just supporting what she's saying as it pertains to, I'm not necessarily trying to bring up new business, but I'm saying that in conjunction to the problem that we're having on 4th, that this is an issue, so.
Well, and
the question that I have, Chip, is I know you keep talking about a larger plan downtown. It seems like we're making some changes kind of one meeting at a time without a sense of what the larger plan is. And I was just wondering if we could have a meeting with an agenda item about what we're planning to do downtown.
And Commissioner Grant, I'd like to just mention the mobility plan too. I mean, that's something perhaps this commission could look at adopting. I know they came back, and looked at the mobility plan for downtown, but technically it doesn't necessarily have any teeth in it. I mean, it's a guideline, and it talks about the need for safety and pedestrian improvement. And I think this item here, no left turn, could actually be very beneficial and falls in line with this plan. Is that correct?
All of that are very good points. When somebody brings it to us, especially the police department, that there's a crosswalk that people can't be seen in or a left turn problem, I don't want to wait for a plan to get developed, and 3 months from now we're coming in here talking about it. If it's something that we can vote on today and decide to do it, then when we bring the big picture back in here, maybe we remove this no left turn, or maybe we remove the no right on red idea. But I don't want to, plans are great. Sometimes we just don't have time to sit and write a plan when there's a crosswalk that I'm concerned about. Simple things like that, I want to go ahead and do.
Yeah, I understand that, but several times we've had some discussion about a lot of things going on downtown. I know we have the amphitheater open. We revised Fifth Avenue with the convention center. There's been some other changes, and it looks like the dynamics down there are constantly changing. So
it's changed so much in the past few years. You know more than anyone, Brenda, that we're trying to gather our thoughts still on how much that has grown on us so fast. People walking in the streets and crossing on all reds, and all this is kind of new to us. But we're going to bring in a plan for some pedestrian improvements. We're going to bring in a plan on some turning movement restrictions. These two were individual requests by the police department that I wanted to go ahead and get off our plate.
Well, my thinking is that the no left turn at Fifth Avenue is very much a challenge. And if we do a no left turn on Fourth Avenue, are we just adding to the problem? That would be my concern, because I don't think the other one has necessarily worked real well either. But, I think you had a restriction of turning from 4 to 6. And I think maybe we're not giving enough time for these changes in the red lights and the pedestrian walk lights to take into effect to see if that will have some impact on turning left there. It would just be my thought that before you change another street with no left turn, let's see how the pedestrian light changes. And if in a couple of months we see it's not working, then and these guys know as well as I do, or better
the problem
about
with the intersection is if you're going northbound on 4th Avenue and you're going to hang a left turn, you've got all the traffic coming straight across Broadway on 4th Avenue that you have to wait for. Mm-hmm. Well, if you're making a left turn off of 4th Avenue, the crosswalk, the pedestrians also have the right-of-way. So even if you get clear traffic, now you have to deal with the pedestrians. So the later it gets in the evening, or if there's a special event going on downtown, I mean, it's a no-win situation. You're not going to get a left turn.
Well, I appreciate the discussion on it, and I think in the big picture, I think you're exactly right. We need to look at the big plan as it's coming to us in the future, but we can't solve all the traffic problems every time by just changing one street. That's kind of my thinking.
Well, I will correct one thing, and sorry about this, but now the pedestrians and the left turns aren't going at the same time. We just changed that within the last month. So, okay. But anyway, the southbound 4th Avenue traffic's enough by itself to back traffic up sometimes, but I just wanted to put that out there because that's what you had alluded to, the pedestrian conflict.
Brenda, do you have any other comments or want to defer it, or?
No, I think it's proper to vote.
Okay, all right.
So I'll make a motion to, I guess, which way, talk on it?
Bullet number 3.
Number 3, I make a motion to approve the modification of no left turn on 4th Avenue North Broad at Broadway from 4 to 6 p.m. to 24/7.
Okay, have a first, a second.
I second.
Have a first and second. All in favor, raise your right hand. 7 to 1. All right. Bullet number 4, authorize no parking anytime on both sides of Estes Road from Woodmont Boulevard to Crescent Road. Mary.
And I'd asked to pull this from the agenda just because when I looked at it, it's along Woodland Park, and I wanted to see how the request came about and if there was any concerns about losing that parking or if that parking would go away right in front of the park.
That's kind of, it is related to the people trying to get to the park. The request came in as it's hard to see the people crossing to the park and people backing out of their driveways because the cars park down through there and you can't see someone backing out or you can't see somebody stepping out from between the cars. So we talked to the neighbors out there, and the only solution we had was to remove the parking. Now, we could do some kind of other warning signage and that kind of thing, but we hate to get rid of the parking ourselves. But when people are losing sight distance for people backing out of their driveways or trying to cross the street, it concerns us.
And the neighbors are supportive of the change.
Yeah.
And it appears that the park has a parking area, and it looked adequate, I guess, and so there's no concerns about, it's small, but.
And if it turns out to be that they're overflowing their own parking and need some parking on the street, maybe we can give a zone here and there where you can see a little bit better than others, where we might could fill in some on-street parking.
Great, yeah, I just want to see that flexibility. So I think with that, then that addresses my concerns. Did anybody else have any questions? With that, I'd like to make a motion for approval.
The neighbors approve this? I mean, it's in a neighborhood area, and where do they park aside from their driveways? I mean, for guests and things.
That's going to be the question, but
it's the same problem we had over in Cherokee.
It is very similar to that. Very similar to that, where you, except on Cherokee, the road wasn't quite wide enough, and people were going around the double yellow.
And busier.
Double yellow, yeah. And so I can defer this and go get some measurements and make sure the neighborhood's on board. The few people we've talked to out there, we didn't have a community meeting or anything like that. We've just talked to a few people while we were observing it, and they were supportive. But I have no problem deferring it if you'd like us to.
Chip, I can remember using this park when my children were younger, and many times on Saturday, Sundays, you had to park on the street because there was no place to park.
Well, now that it's spring, maybe we can get a better observation of what's going on out there.
Because there's only, I think, 6, 7, 8 parking spaces at the park. And I think a lot of people would park along what would be the east side of Woodmont Boulevard. Maybe Estes. Maybe they're also parking on the west side as well.
Let's defer a month, and now that it's sunny and the park's going to be full, we can get a better observation of the area.
Particularly Saturday and Sunday, I think that park is very busy.
Chip, the way you got this is 24/7?
Yes, sir.
The park doesn't have any lights, does it? That people would use it at night?
Well, I know they close at a certain time regardless of lighting or anything, right?
At dusk.
Dusk. Yeah, they close at dusk. Okay. So maybe we could do something like that.
Yeah.
I hope to defer.
I second.
I recommend.
I third.
All right. On bullet number 4, we have a motion, a first and a second, to defer indefinitely, John, or?
We'll defer for a month.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, we have a motion to defer for 1 month. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. Let's go back to bullet number 3, and I want to make sure that was right. I said there was 7 in favor and 1 against on that bullet number 3. Okay. All right. Bullet number 8. Authorize a 100-foot loading zone on the west side of 2nd Avenue North in front of 1205 2nd Avenue North from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Who was that you, Mary?
Yes, that's another item that I was looking at, and it appears they have an alley, and I wanted to see what their justification was for it, and I think it'll help once the map, we'll definitely need an image
Justification is they receive numerous deliveries there at that business, which are tractor trailer rigs, and they try to pull into that cutoff area there. And because people park their personal vehicles there, there's not adequate space for them to get their tractor trailers rigs in there for deliveries.
I'd just like to take a closer look at that on the plan, because it appeared that they've got alley access, and we'd rather have that happen in the alley behind the business and have that on-street parking then in front.
There's also that's Madison. Is that near Madison as well?
That is between Madison and Monroe.
Because there's a large apartment complex being built there as well.
Right.
I apologize. This is the one, actually, I think I already had a clarification on this item. So and with that, I'd like to actually move for approval. This is the one on 3rd. I thought I was looking at, yeah. So I think we're fine. Yeah, unless anyone else had any questions, I want to go ahead and move for approval on that item.
Second.
Have a first and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. 8-0. All right, on item number 11, bullet number 11, authorize valet parking on the north side of Malloy Street between 1st Avenue South and 2nd Avenue South for the 222 tower from 11 a.m. through 2 p.m., from 6 p.m. to 12 a.m., 7 days a week.
Yeah, after we sent out the agenda, we had a request to change the times and days of the week, maybe. You want to come up and speak about it? So instead of sending out a revised agenda at the last minute, I thought we would just look at it here at the meeting.
Okay. Give us your name.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Kevin Gangwer with Civil Site Design Group, the engineer for the project. We're grateful to Chip and Public Works for helping us work through this application. I turned it in and then got a slap on the hands from my client for giving Chip the wrong hours. Wanted to see if we could change the hours of this valet lane from 11 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. and then again from 5 p.m. to 3 a.m.
3 p.m.?
Is this a new building project?
It's a new building, yes, sir. It's currently a vacant parking lot, and it'll be a 28-story office building with retail restaurant.
Again, 6 p.m. for what?
I'm sorry?
6 p.m.?
What was those times again?
5 p.m. to 3 a.m. And the lunch hour is 11 a.m. to 2:30 p.m.
Is there a business there already in operation?
No, it's a vacant.
No, it's a vacant parking lot. I'm sorry, it's a parking lot.
There's going to be a building. Chip, when the building's built, there's going to be any kind of indentation off the street for valet?
Y'all aren't building a parking bay or anything, are you, Kevin?
I'm sorry?
You're not putting in a parking bay or a loading bay or anything on it?
We do have a loading bay, but the valet is an indentation in the sidewalk.
Oh, okay. That's right. I remember seeing your plan here. Here it is.
Because that's my primary concern, is that there be an indentation.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, the traffic will just grind to a halt.
Yes, it is a 6-foot pull off, 6 foot wide.
Yeah, it's got its own parking area, the valet area.
I just have a question, and not that I'm being critical of you guys, but it seems a little odd to be approving this so far ahead of the construction. I mean, you guys are, how far out are you guys before this is actually a complete building?
Well, we're designing it, so we need to know where we can have the valet in order to do the design. But they'll start moving dirt in August.
Okay. Well, okay.
Thank you.
So let me ask a question, I guess maybe to Chip. If we approve this, can we approve it contingent on them putting in the curb cut? Because if we just approve it on its face, then does that mean that somewhere in engineering with them, they may not have to put the curb cut in, but we've approved valet? I mean, how would that work?
Good point. Legally, you can put a contingency on there, I'm sure, or you can just take it in good faith that we'd be watching it too. I mean, Commissioner Green made a good point. We wouldn't want a valet right there on blocking traffic.
You could approve it as designed.
Approve it as designed.
Okay, so do your design drawings you're going to submit will have this indentation?
Yes, sir. We provided an exhibit, and our design drawings that Public Works has to approve will include that.
Well, my motion to approve this is that the drawings be submitted as part of the approval for the valet. And I'm willing to allow the modification at the time with the contingency that the design drawings are submitted so that they'll be in the public record.
Was that a motion?
Yes.
Okay, I second it.
All right. Let's make sure we've got this right. Change it to 11 a.m. to 2:30, and from 5 p.m. to 3 a.m. Is that correct? Yes, sir. All right.
We've made a motion.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. Thanks, sir. Appreciate you coming. New business. Request to provide 50 complimentary parking spots for the volunteers for the Taste of Music City at the Public Square Garage on June the 20th, 2015, from 3 p.m. till 10 p.m.
According to the contract with the Nashville Downtown Partnership, any request for complimentary parking must be approved by the commission, and this is something that the commission has done in the past.
I make a motion to approve.
Have a first, second. All in favor, raise your right hand. 8-0. Appeals. Request to appeal the denial of an all-way stop on Overhill Drive at Hood Avenue requested by Mrs. Miller. Is Ms. Miller here? Ms. Miller, would you like to speak, please?
I will.
Thank you.
I also have another neighbor here with me, Wendy Timmons, if time permits.
That'd be fine.
Thank you. This one's on. My name's Elizabeth Miller, and I live on Overhill Drive. The reason for the petition, as stated, is I'm appealing the denial of a three-way stop at Overhill and Hood. I want to first of all say that I understand that the road is for all, and I do think that we should endure the reasonable use of the road. I also understand that we don't live on a quiet country road. We live in Green Hills. We have a significant volume because we have a lot of attractive amenities there. But at this point, the reasonable use of the road has turned into abuse of the road to the detriment of the safety of the drivers and for the pedestrians there.
Excuse me, Ms. Miller. Yes. Would you pull that mic a little bit closer to you?
I would be happy to.
Right.
And if I go too fast, please let me know.
Now, another thing,
yes.
You know you got 3 minutes.
I do. I'll try to go fast, and please stop me. Right. So just to briefly tell you about the character of Overhill. So Hillsborough Pike roughly runs north to south. Overhill is an annexed street that's bookended by Hillsborough Pike and Lone Oak Road. And just to give you another sense, we have shallow setbacks. We have a sidewalk on the northern portion of Overhill. This sidewalk is well used by school children who are accessing a school bus stop, and Wendy is going to say a little bit about that. We have at least 12 children on the road, if not more. The issue here is speed. A lot of roads have a speed issue, but we have a safety issue. And the reason we have a safety issue is because of two unchangeable elements on that roadway. We have a blind hill and we have a significant curve. We're here requesting the stop sign because we don't know what else to do. We're open to other solutions. We just need help. And so I want to tell you too that I have objective proof of the speed because when I go with my toddler and stroller, I can see a speed warning sign. It flashes 38, 37, 36, 38. And it goes through multiple light changes, and it happens almost every time. With the stop sign, it's my understanding that the volume counts did not support installing the stop sign here, but I would like to point out that our sister intersection at Castleman and Hood has a three-way stop sign. I also wanted to state too that Castleman has a hill, and so it's at the base of the hill, similar to Overhill. The other issue is the curve in the hill. I mentioned the blind hill. We also have a curve. This is where I'm concerned. I think the three-way stop would be a solution to the speed and safety, but I'm concerned about drivers coming down the hill down the curve and towards Hillsborough Pike. I'm concerned they won't see that stop sign. And so I'm asking for help. How do we make it safe for people to stop at that stop sign? We need some sort of warning, and ideally we would have some very low profile speed cushion. I'm not talking about a bump or a speed hump. I'm talking about a speed cushion. They're temporary, and they have a width that would allow emergency vehicles to cross over without taking in the bump. That is, it fits between the axles or the wheels of the car. And so that's my request. It's for a three-way stop, for some sort of alert to the drivers so that they can see that there is a new stop sign, a signage in addition. As an alternative to the stop sign, if that's just a no-go to have the three-way stop sign, I would like to request that we have some of these rubber cushions, speed barriers. You know what I'm talking about. You guys are the experts. The low-profile cushions that will allow the emergency vehicles to pass without being stopped at all. And so that's my argument in a nutshell. And Wendy is going to give us a little bit of additional information about the situation for the school children.
Yeah, so thank you so much for taking the time to hear us out. My name is Wendy Timmons, and I just want to speak to you as a resident of Overhill and a mother of school-aged children. I personally have a even larger predicament. My house is just at the crest of that hill, just below the crest. It's actually very dangerous to make a left-hand turn out of my driveway. And even to the point where I have a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old, and I've told my husband when they become of driving age in 4 years, we may have to move because I'm not comfortable with them making a left-hand turn out of my driveway. In addition, the bus stop is just down the hill at the corner of Farrar and Overhill. The sidewalk is on the other side of the street. Earlier this year, we were walking to the bus stop, and we have to walk down the hill significantly through yards to safely cross over Overhill. We had done that. A car came flying over the top of the hill. It was wet. My daughter got scared, tried to turn around and run back, and slid in the road. As a result, she now refuses to walk to the bus stop. In addition, I have had to occasionally ask her to walk. She's in 4th grade. I haven't been able to meet the bus stop. And she will not cross Overhill, so then she ends up walking through yards on the shoulder, which I also believe is not a safe environment for a child. We also have had multiple incidents of people blowing by the school bus sign on Overhill because they're coming so fast down that hill. And I have to give kudos to my local precinct because I asked them to come out and make that observation. I'd actually asked them to follow the route so they could see it, but they actually sat in a driveway where they were very visible, so people saw them immediately, and that was why they were stopping for the stop sign, for the bus sign. But it's a significant safety issue for me and my children, and I just appreciate you taking the time to hear us out.
Thank you. Commissioners?
Yes, I have some comments. I'm very familiar with this street. I've gone up and down it numerous times. I know it's probably used a little bit as a cut-through street to avoid Green Hills traffic, because if you go back Lone Oak and go this way, it also is a connection to Julia Green School, which is what the road side changes to Hobbs when you cross Hillsborough Road. I know there's been some of the signage has been up there tracking speed. My concern is, from a safety point of view, about an all-way stop is because of the hill. How much easement is there? Is there any possibility to do a mini roundabout, any kind of thing that slows cars down without a complete stop? Because my concern is the complete stopping coming down the hill.
Well, you're right. This road has been in the traffic calming program since the birth of the traffic calming program. It was probably the first one we did. Real quick, Corbett, let's do the technical part. Let's get this technical stuff out of the way. And she was right about the volumes. They're just not distributed well. There's 7,000 vehicles a day on Overhill and 94 or 100, if you will, on Hood. And that just throws off our whole engineering reason to put it in an always stop. And we're worried about the rear end accidents and that sort of thing with the stops. So I wanted to put that out there, the reason we turned it down and the reason we had to have an appeal. Now, other things we could do, though, warm it up, I guess, and put it back in the traffic calming program. And let Vinny, you got any suggestions, chime in here.
Yeah. As Chip was saying, this was probably the first traffic calming, one of the first streets that was taking over at the time. We would like to just reintroduce it into the program. We'll discuss all the things that you talked about today and just begin to look at it in a whole new different light. Because like I said, from the inception, we're talking, those signs were probably put up 8-9 years ago, and everybody knows how much everything has changed in 2 or 3 years. So I think some of the solution would be for us just to reinvent kind of what's going on and reinvestigate. And like I said, it doesn't fall within the guidelines for a stop sign, but just like you were saying, you were looking for help, and that's generally what the program does. So we will take that over, and hopefully they will not have to come back in.
I'd like to, and I want to hear more about the pedestrian path you're taking, because I couldn't really follow it very well without getting with you. But I want to know where they're walking to and from. You know the area a little more than we do, so.
And we'll get, my program will get with them, and like I said, we'll get all our investigations and things like that, not only taking other counts or some things like that, and look at what else we can do within the program, but also your information. We'll always follow up with Chip and let him have what he needs to know as far as the walkthroughs for children and things like that, things that may cross a little bit outside of the program where we'll have to step into the full traffic division to do what we need to do. So. And
that's why the reason I say traffic calming, you mentioned cushions and that sort of thing, and I'm not saying we're going to do that, but that is what traffic calming is. This is more of a traffic calming project than a stop sign project. So let's meet sometime and figure out some things and brainstorm, as opposed to putting a stop sign out there. That's just my request.
Question, Chip. What about additional flashing lights, slow caution, putting any kind of crosswalks in, things that signify that there's pedestrian traffic here, that signal cars to try to slow down?
Exactly. That's what we're talking about. That's why I want to know where people are walking to and from, some pedestrian warning signs, maybe crosswalk. You would need a ramp on the other side, a compliant ramp. Right. But that's all within our toolbox of things we could do.
Because if you look at it from where it was when those first solar-powered signs were put up, I mean, there's been a major amount of construction on the street since then. Because I remember actually way back when they were putting those signs in, they were having issues. A couple of council lady asked me one time about the curbs the sidewalks were being messed up by the trucks, and that was many years ago. So I'm sure there's several things that have changed since then, and we really need to take a look at it. Chip's assistance.
My only concern about speed humps, like what's on Lombardy, is that the traffic gets diverted to another street. People will go to another street to avoid the humps, and all you've really done is move the problem from one street to another. And if we could try to come up with some creative ways, signage, lighting, crosswalks to slow cars down.
You're right. That's why if you put in stop signs for speed control or use it as a traffic calming device, you're just moving the water somewhere else. The water's just going to flow somewhere else.
So does it sound like we maybe need to defer this? And if so, I'd like to make a motion to do such with the recommendation of should we defer it for 1 month's meeting or indefinitely?
Well, my recommendation is to deny the appeal. It's a 99
just
to 1 ratio.
Just deny the appeal on itself, okay.
And then, but we're not leaving. We're just, and this topic can be brought back up. If what we do doesn't do the job, we can come back before this commission with a stop sign idea.
That sounds very reasonable.
Well, a motion to deny.
Second. Have a first, a second to deny.
Question.
All right.
Maybe it's a legal question. Can there be what kind of comments will be in the public record so that it's beneficiary to our good citizens who came, that they know that this issue could be brought back? I just want to make sure there's this discussion that we're looking at alternatives so that they're not denied and then they no longer have a voice. I just want to make sure.
The most appropriate would be the minutes themselves, and we're being recorded right now.
Okay.
For those watching the channel.
Okay. So I just want to make sure that, they're not ignored.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a first and a second for denial of the always stop. All in favor, raise your right hand. 7 to 1, excuse me. Thank you, ladies, for coming.
Thank you.
I didn't.
Sir?
I abstain.
Okay. Appreciate all the commissioners being here. We got 100% today. Appreciate you coming. Lieutenant?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Have a motion. Have a first and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you.